Hello, welcome to April 30th and your next 24 hours. I can't believe it's the end of April. Tomorrow is May Day, May 1st, and we're doing it. I am going to read this as a singular block rather than line by line today. And I'm also been sitting with it for just a little bit, and I decided to think out loud with you rather than to myself and have kind of a canned interpretation of this spread. For those of you who are maybe watching this for the first time, watching these videos for the first time, I'm a reader in New York City. I typically do readings online. I just launched a website, can be found in the description box below, so that folks have basically a better understanding of when I'm available. I've done a very poor job of responding to emails, and I apologize for that. So hopefully that will raise visibility and let people get in touch. And right now, for me, I just started doing personal readings again, private readings. The most I can seem to handle is 24 hours, the next 24 hours, a day at a time. And I am going to start by saying that this morning, as with most mornings lately, it's really a lot in New York City right now. It's not uncommon for me to have a little bit of an emotional moment in the morning when I wake up and I realize it's the same thing. I look out my windows and there are these apartments everywhere the eye can see. And these apartments are not very big. And a lot of folks have not left their homes since early March, March 22nd, I think, is when this state locked down. I'm lucky enough to still have a day job, and we stopped going into the office March 3rd, so I'm going in 60 days in here. Again, I've gone out when I felt well enough to get groceries and things, but there's not much to get. And I think, at least for me, and again, every reading is through the lens of the reader. This reading is talking a lot about that, so I'm going to get to it. Because we're dealing a lot with authority figures and how different interpretations of what authority is. We have the Hierophant here, the Six of Wands, the Emperor. So the Hierophant is traditionally, we've been seeing the Hierophant in the Victorian Romance Tarot, and if you recall, that image was a teacher, like very clearly a teacher, teaching his students. In this case, we have what looks to be a religious leader. Some folks call this card the Pope, because we see what looks to be, religious leader and, folks who follow him below, between these two pillars, pointing to the heavens. So this card can sometimes represent, depending on the reading, it can represent marriage, institutions. We have the crosses on the robe as well. Marriage, institutions, higher education, things like this. So that type of authority. And then we have the Emperor, who is basically like the CEO, the guy in charge, the judge, the jury, and the executioner. For whatever, better for worse, he is, total authority. And then on the next line, we have a lot of major arcana today. We have the Seven, graduating immediately to the Eight of Pentacles. So, and I'm going to come back to this, I promise. Pentacles, again, about tangible things that we do. These are cards of work. In the Seven, we have the individual who is toiling hard, plowing his fields, not really satisfied. If you can see the look on his face, not really satisfied with the harvest that he's pulled in, but he continues to work. This is often about kind of, a job where we're underappreciated, just kind of putting our nose to the grindstone and getting through it. It could also just be a real focus on so many people have lost their jobs, not having that day-to-day purpose in our lives, and really not knowing how we're going to manifest or create material security in our lives without that. And then we graduate quickly to the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is about perfecting our craft, right? This guy is a little bit more satisfied. We see the village in the background, and he is very focused on just that pentacle. He's created, 6 of them already, but he's focused on that one pentacle. He's got another one to do yet. So this is about, I think when this card is when work doesn't feel like work, right? When we really enjoy what we're doing, and we're not even noticing how much we've gotten done and how much we have yet to do. It just is something we enjoy. So I want to ask you, especially if you're an individual who's watching this who's lost their daily today, what does that look like to you now? Maybe that day job has left you. So what are you doing in your free time right now? How are you spending it? What are the hobbies that you're turning to? And how can you make work not feel like work? I also think this is kind of reminding us that currency is having a new kind of meaning in our life. These the 7 and the 8 of Pentacles right next to each other. This really is about material things. And then, crazily enough, it goes right to the 9. So we have 7, 8, 9, and they're all Pentacles. We only have 2 other suits represented here. The 6 of Wands, which is about success. So again, this is really prompting us to ask us, what do we consider successful? And how has that definition changed? For me, success has really changed in these past 60 days. Success to me is being able to move, whether it means doing like some sort of stretching or minor workout in my house and getting my job done and trying to help another person. That's success. That wasn't the same kind of idea of what success was to me 60 days ago at all. Success is not getting sick. Success is making sure others don't get sick in my world right now. So really different meanings. And also 7, 8, 9 of Pentacles. This is, we're really focused on the material aspects of life. And I want to talk about the 9 of Pentacles because this is about luxuries in life. To me, the phrase that comes to my mind always is tending to one's own garden. The figure in the 9 of Pentacles is always solitary. So you might be one of these people stuck in this their apartment, who, I'm lucky in a lot of ways. It's just me and my cat here. I don't have a family of 6 living in a very small space. But there are a lot of people who do right now. So in our moments of solitude, in the moments where we have that luxury of reflection, what does, actually a mosquito buzzing around me. How are you pampering yourself in those moments? How are you taking time for you? How are you tending to your own garden? How are you tending to your soul right now? For me, If I feel like crying, I'm letting myself cry. If I feel like watching something funny, I'm watching something funny. I'm really indulging my emotions in terms of whatever needs to come out, I'm letting come out. Anger, whatever it might be. So how are you tending to your own emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being right now? I think that's probably, maybe if you're not really caring about those things, then this could just be simply a card of reminding you that you have everything you need, and assuring you that you will have everything you need. Maybe not everything you want, but everything you need. And then we have the High Priestess here, another card of authority of sorts. Very similar, kind of the counterpart to the Hierophant. But she is, we have these black and white pillars, right? To some, she is seen as, and we have the crescent moon here. To some, she's seen as the sorceress, the mystic, the shaman, those representing kind of the authority of the unknown. She specializes in the unknown. The second card to the Major Arcana, I love the image of her in the romance, Victorian Romance tarot deck. She's seen as kind of this sorceress, and I've been reading, kind of reading the Major Arcana as a story lately, and she's almost this invisible hand of creation to me. Often represents an angel in my Rider-Waite deck. When I see this card in a reading, I wonder if there's someone close to the person I'm reading for who's passed, and that this is kind of an angelic protection of sorts. So we have the tradition, church structures, institutions, learning institutions. We have the CEO, we have kind of the mystic represented here. And then the other Major Arcana card we have is death. Again, death, never, very rarely representing actual physical death, but as a metaphor of the ultimate transformation that we undergo as human beings, shedding this mortal coil. And, I heard someone say once that death is our only true friend. It will never lie to us under any circumstances. When our time comes, our time comes. And it is the only real truth in this life. So I think about that, and I think about how are we redefining, transforming our ideas of truth, transforming our ideas of success, transforming our ideas of abundance. How have they changed? We have another authority figure here, the King of Swords. This is kind of the minor arcana version of the Emperor. King of Swords, again, authority figure, usually law, legal, judge, someone with swords representing air representing thoughts. So someone who's come in a position of authority, in the realm of thought. Again, echoed here in the Hierophant. So I'm really wondering about the headlines today in terms of, also, what we're going to hear from and about our leaders and those who want to lead. It doesn't seem like it's going to be easy because we have the Ten of Wands. And to me, this is just an echo, validation of what we're all going through. These wands are hard to carry. They're difficult to bear. His head is, lowered, looking down, just focusing on getting those wands to maybe that village. But this is when our burdens become heavy. It also is about, tens can be about completion. We're getting, we've reached the end of the suit of the wands. And so what have we learned on the journey of fire? What have we learned on the journey of action? How have our actions changed? And what have we learned? So If I'm projecting my entire story into these cards, so be it. It may be that I just needed to process this today. So I will say, with that, thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful to someone other than me. And I wish you the very best in this day ahead. Thanks for stopping by. Know you are loved, and I will talk to you soon.